The hardest walk leads to the greatest destination. And what's our destination, brothers? The kingdom, man. The arms of Yahushua, man. The scriptures tell us in the Apocrypha there's a day coming where Yahushua will place crowns upon the heads of the brothers that maintained their faith in him, that believed in him. He shall place crowns upon their heads. Esdras saw that, man. Our great forefather Esdras saw that in the vision. We want to be part of that group, man. We want to be one of those individuals receiving that crown from Yahushua. You know how, man, you know how great that is? I couldn't begin to possibly explain that in words. Words can't even explain the joy of that. Okay?
Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God. And I will write upon him my new name.
So at the end of this walk that we're going through, we're going to be lauded. We're going to be praised for our wisdom, for our tenacity that we show. As a matter of fact, the new Acts of the Apostles is being written now. We're going to be talked about in the kingdom. We're going to be the celebrities in the kingdom. Us that are doing this work, man. Our children are going to be reading about us. Scriptures speak about the writings of the house of Israel.
I said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai.
The elect of the nation of Israel. They were born to be leaders of the nation. What did Yahushua tell his disciples? You shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Think about that, man. We're being created, we're being formed, we're being forged into being leaders of this great nation, the nation of Israel.
I, Shalom, want to begin his lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shah, Wahar Rakah Kwadash, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. I also would like to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders, a great millstone. Much due honors and respect to the sincere brethren out there that's also laboring in his work. And as always, want to say shalom to the believers, the Akim as well as the Aqua, which will be you brothers along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, the topic of this sin right here is going to be centered around the kingdom of heaven, all right? And the veracity of the kingdom, meaning the truth concerning this phrase, which has been completely taken out of its proper context. You see, in the platform, if you will, where this misinformation has been presented is in the form of Christianity, which we all was under that vibration, and had this perception of the kingdom, and the only way you can experience the kingdom was in the afterlife. But what you're going to come to find out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is the kingdom of heaven is nothing more than the next system, if you will, next regime to step in the place of the so-called white man in this current kingdom, which is going to be overthrown, pursuing the prophecy, which, by the way, the idea of teaching the kingdom of heaven is prophecy indeed, man, all right, which I have touched on this subject before, but the spirit is on me to go into it again. For one, it's an edifying topic, you see, but again, overall, it captures the spirit of prophecy. The teaching of a kingdom is prophecy. Matter of fact, let's start off with that in the book of Matthew, the 10th chapter. And starting at the 5th verse, it says, These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Yeah, and that proves that this doctrine, these teachings, are only for Israel. And really, when you scratch beneath the surface, it's only meant for the elect of the nation of Israel. That would be the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Okay, when you deal with the scriptures compare nations to animals. You know, the so-called white man is compared to, you know, the serpent, you know, and the goats. All right? Israel, when concerning the 2/3, is known as vipers and scorpions, man. See? But the elect of the nation of Israel is known as sheep. And in this case, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right? That's why the scriptures and the prophecies concerning the elect said that the Lord is going to gather, you know, his elect. Meaning we were scattered. We was lost. So when the scriptures say, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that's actually dealing with the elect, man. See? Verse 7, it says, And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom, see, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Now, when you go into this word preach, it pretty much translates to prophesying, man. All right? That word preacher literally means prophet. You know, if you was to ask your local pastor what the word preacher means, he's going to be dumbfounded. See? He might call for security, man. Okay, when you break that word preacher down, it's a compound word. Pre meaning before, you see? And cher goes back to the Latin to say. So when you put the words pre and cher together, it literally means to say before, you see? Or it translates to prophet. So when the scriptures say, and as ye go, preach, that's pretty much saying prophesy, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So when you teach the idea of the kingdom in its proper context, the veracity of the kingdom of heaven, then that's a form of prophesying. See that? Now the kingdom of heaven, again, is not your grandma's kingdom, meaning a place where when you die and your spirit is found in good graces with the one you know is God and ignorantly referred to as sweet Jesus, you know, when you die, your spirit ascends into the heavens where you're greeted by angels and you're escorted to the pearly gates to reunite with your dead loved ones. Well, that's not in harmony with the scriptures. All right, the idea of the kingdom of heaven, again, is concerning the next rulership, all right, the next system and regime, which will come in the form of the 144,000, the governing body with our Lord Yahushua leading the charge, man, which is going to govern over the planet Earth and beyond. That's the kingdom of heaven in its proper context. See? Matter of fact, let's further prove that before we get into this lesson. It's the book of Acts, the 1st chapter, in the 6th verse. It says, when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom, see, to Israel? Let's read this again. It says, when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom? And what kingdom is this concerning? The kingdom of heaven, man, to Israel. All right? Now, the Lord's answer should have been, well, when you die. When you die, the kingdom of heaven is going to be restored unto you. Let's see what the Lord said. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons, see, meaning that was a particular time, an appointed time reserved for the kingdom to be established, which again is a government, all right? It says, he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power. So if this kingdom, all right, which you people incorporate with the kingdom of heaven in the sense of afterlife, well, if that was the case, Yahushua would have simply answered by saying, when you die, man, that's when the kingdom will be restored to you. See? Matter of fact, let's click on a definition for this word kingdom right here. Get the pronunciation in the Greek.
Strong's G 932. Basileia. Basileia.
Yeah, it says royal power, kingship, dominion. See, dominion, rule, okay? That's the kingdom, man. It's going to be a dominion. We're going to have rulership over the other nations, man, starting with Esau. And there's plenty of scriptures to support that, man. You know, when you read Psalms, the 2nd chapter, Revelation, the 2nd chapter, where it tells you how we're going to rule over the nations with a rod of iron, which, by the way, symbolizes a dictatorship, man. It's going to be a harsh, rigorous rule. See? It goes on to say, a kingdom, the territory subject to the rule of a king. Hey, let's read this again. It says, a kingdom, the territory subject to the rule of a king. Yeah, that word territory goes back to terrestrial, which means the earth. So that proves right there that this rulership is going to be on the earth. You know, you have terrestrial, which goes back to terrain, all right, which means the earth. And you have celestial, okay, which means heavenly. Celestial goes back to the word, for an example, cellar, you know, or attic. You know, you would call your attic your cellar. So that's something celestial, meaning heavenly. But the definition here says a kingdom, the territory, see, which goes back to terrain, all right, or terrestrial, man, you know, which means on the earth. So this kingdom is going to be on the earth, see, which brings me to the book of Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. Starting at the 1st verse, it says, the word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, which is the house of Israel, the northern and southern kingdom. All right? It says, and it shall come to pass in the last days. See, in the last days. Now the scripture is framing this precept, you know, with the words last days, meaning the overtone of what we're reading right here is prophecy, man. In fact, this is a prophecy which has not come to pass yet. See? So again, it says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. Now, when you come across the word mountains, you know, in most cases, from a symbolic point of view in the scriptures, it pretty much symbolizes governments. See? So what the scripture is saying right here, that the mountain of the Lord's house, or the government of the Lord's house, shall be established in the top of the mountains, meaning we're going to be exalted over all the other nations, man. And again, this is a future prophecy. See? It says, and shall be exalted, see, above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. Yeah, and the hills is symbolic to smaller governments or smaller nations. But the scriptures say, and all nations shall flow unto it. So these mountains or governments or nations is going to flow unto the mountain of the Lord's house, which is Israel. All right? And again, this is a future prophecy. So all these other nations is going to flow unto us. All right? Just like right now, the so-called white man and his rulership and his power, the nations flock to him. Case in point, what's the dominant language on the planet Earth? The English language, man. Okay, you see, I used to live by UAB, the University of Alabama at Birmingham, which is one of the top 3 medical universities on the planet Earth, man. All right? And you see nothing but gooks out there. You don't see nothing but Moab and Ham, you know, Elam, all these different nations. They go to mostly all of these different universities, man. And if they want to leg up in the world, they got to learn the so-called white man's curriculum. They got to learn the English language. Meaning what? Right now, they flow to Esau because this is Esau's kingdom. See? But in the world to come, they're going to flow into us. See? Again, it says, and all nations shall flow unto it. Yeah, so in the kingdom to come, all right, which is the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be here on the planet Earth, all the nations are going to flow into us. See? Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord. Yeah, and that's what you see right now, especially when you go back into the glory days of America, so to speak. You know, you had all these immigrants flocking to America, all right? Well, guess what? That's going to happen when we are raised up, these different nations who once looked at us as a people, robbed and spoiled and forsaken, so much so that no man might travel through, well, guess what? They're going to flock unto us because we're going to be a glorious kingdom. See? It says, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. Meaning, we're going to set the tone on the planet Earth. The law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to be established, man. And these other nations is going to keep the laws. See? It says, for out of Zion shall go forth the law. See that? And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Now you got to ask yourself, when was this fulfilled, man? At what point in time after this was written did the law go forth from Zion and the nations acknowledged and kept the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua? No, this is a future prophecy again concerning when we are exalted and raised up. See? It says, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. See? And this is concerning that rigorous rule. Our Lord Yahushua, in the form of the elect, the 144,000, the governing body, we're going to rule over these nations, because we're going to have to establish the laws. It's going to be times where different nations are not going to comply. And guess what? That's where that rod of iron going to come in. Matter of fact, let me grab a quick precept to support that before we move forward. This is the book of Revelation, the 2nd chapter. And starting at the 26th verse, it says, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. See? Now, when will this be fulfilled, man? After you die in heaven, then you're going to have power over the nations. That don't make sense. See? Verse 27, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So that's the reward. We're going to be the next rulers to govern over the planet Earth. And again, we're going to beat the hell out of you nations, man. All right? And that's the scriptures giving you a vivid illustration of that rulership. See? So when you go back here to Isaiah, the 2nd chapter, in the 4th verse again, and he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people. Yeah, that's going to come in the form of that rod of iron, man. All right? And again, this is how all nations pretty much approach things, man. When you go back to the Assyrians, the ancient Babylonians, the Medo-Persian Empire, they had strong militaries to enforce their decrees. The Greco-Roman Empire, and even here with the so-called white man in this beast system. If these different nations don't comply with the so-called white man, he's going to hit them with sanctions, or if all else fail, he's going to bomb them to hell and back, man. That's a form of him rebuking nations. See? Well, guess what? We're going to do the same thing. All right? And double in the kingdom. See? And he shall judge among the nations and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. See? Meaning you nations is going to become servants, man. Let's read this again. And shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Yeah, pruning hooks and plowshares are farming tools, man. Meaning you other nations are going to be put to work. You're going to be servants under us. Matter of fact, let's further prove this. It's the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter. And starting at the 14th verse, it says, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. Yeah, and that's starting with the so-called white man. Did not this man afflict us? See? And the scriptures say, the sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. Yeah, and your sons represent the latter you, okay? Your sons come after you. So you have your forefathers, which symbolizes the past, and your sons symbolizes the future. So in the future, these Edomites, starting with these Edomites, as well as these other nations which have afflicted us, is going to come bending, man. Why? Because we're going to be given power. Let's read this again. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. See? And all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel, whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated. See? Hey, man, right now you can't deny or refute, the fact that the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American is hated and despised, the butt of everybody's jokes, made mockery of, man. See? But the scriptures say, whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee, I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. And that's dealing with the kingdom. And again, you got to ask yourself, when was this fulfilled? See that? Verse 16, thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, meaning we're going to live off the service of you damn Gentiles. It says, and shall suck the breast of kings, see? Meaning the same thing. And these kings is symbolic to, for an example, Kim Jong-un, man, or Vladimir Putin, these world leaders. Guess what, man? In the kingdom, they're going to be our servants. See? And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. See? For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron, I will also make thy officers peace, and thy exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more, and that's pretty much dealing with, we're going to be upgraded. That's why the Lord said he's going to pretty much upgrade our brass to gold, and our iron to silver, and our wood to brass, and stone to iron. See? Verse 18, violence shall no more be heard in thy land. See? Yeah, because right now, that's what the so-called black community, the urban areas is known for. Violence, black-on-black crime, Crips and blood, turf wars, drug wars. See? But the scriptures say, violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. Yeah, meaning these different hoods. That was a blot, a stain on our legacy, man. That was a testament of Jerusalem, Israel, Yasha'Allah, and our fall from grace. And that's a part of the curses. We had an evil eye towards our brothers, see? Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. Yeah, and that's not, talking about there's not going to be a sun and moon. That's symbolic to wisdom. Okay? It says, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, in thy power thy glory. See? And when you read on, it's going to explain that. It says, thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, meaning we'll never lose this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding again. See? That's what that symbolizes. Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light. Yeah, which is symbolic to understanding. In the kingdom, we're going to be wise. We're going to be a very wise kingdom, And the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Yeah, it's not going to be tears, mothers crying, man, over their loved ones, their child being shot down, sprawled out in the streets. Verse 21, thy people also shall be all righteous, man. Let's read that again. Thy people also shall be all righteous. Right now, that's hard to fathom, Thinking about young Jeezy or NBA Youngboy, man, being righteous. Hey, well, that's going to happen in the kingdom. See, thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. See that? So when you go back here to Isaiah, in the 4th verse, it says, and he shall judge among the nations. Yeah, and again, this is concerning the kingdom of heaven, man. All right? And these nations is going to be judged right here on the planet Earth. Matter of fact, Let's further prove this. This is the book of Zechariah, the 14th chapter, and the 9th verse. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. Let's read this again. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. It didn't only say the heavens, man. It said over all the earth. See? In that day, okay, which hasn't obviously been fulfilled, because right now the so-called white man is the king of the earth, man. Matter of fact, let's prove that. We'll go back. This is Isaiah, the 24th chapter, in the 21st verse. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, again, this is concerning prophecy, that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. Yeah, this hasn't been fulfilled, man. Okay? So the Lord is going to punish the kings of the earth, which is dealing with these different nations, but mainly dealing with the elite of the nation of Edom. All right, the chief house of the nation of Edom, which comes in the form of these international bankers, man. Those would be considered the kings of the earth right now. See? So when you go back to Zechariah, the 14th chapter, in the 9th verse, it says, and the Lord shall be the king over all the earth. Yeah, this is after he overthrow the current kings. So this prophecy isn't fulfilled. All right? So if you're going to be in heaven, you know, forever, and the Lord is going to be ruling here on the earth, shit, technically you will be over the Lord, man. You will be in the heavens, man. And he'll be down here reigning on the earth. No, the kingdom is going to be right here on the earth. See? It says, and the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. Yeah, meaning you're not going to have any gooks worshiping Buddha, you know, or Ham worshiping some bugged out god, or Elam worshiping cows and shit like that, man. No, they're going to actually worship Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And it's going to be done through the elect, you know. They're going to actually pay tribute to the nation of Israel. Matter of fact, let's go there. This is the book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter, again. And starting at the 4th verse, it says, lift up thine eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. Yeah, and the sea symbolizes these other nations. And their abundance is going to be converted unto us, man. Meaning translated over to us, meaning they're going to be paying tribute to us. And when was this fulfilled again? That's the question that you should constantly ask yourself. See? It says the forces of the Gentiles, see? The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. Yeah, and this will be fulfilled in the kingdom of heaven right here. All right? So this kingdom that, you know, we often speak of is concerning the next system, the next rulership to govern over the planet Earth and beyond. See that? Matter of fact, this is Psalms, the 2nd chapter, starting at the 8th verse. It says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. See? And the uttermost parts of the earth, see? In the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. See that? That's the inheritance. That's what's going to be promised to us. The uttermost parts of the earth. Let's read this again. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Yeah, this is going to be the blessing. Again, the blessing entails slavery, man. If you didn't know, okay? When you read the blessing in Genesis, the 27th chapter, well, Isaac, you know, which was Yahweh Shai, if you could receive it, he told Esau, what should I do for you, my son? I have made thy brother thy Lord. See, meaning your master. So that is what comes with the kingdom, man. Rulership. And that's going to play out right here on the planet Earth. Again, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. Yeah, when you have the person, then you have all their possessions. I don't got to go through season your farms and your land and your cattle and your livestock and your resources if I got you. All right? If I got you, then everything you have is mine. And that's why these devils is trying to chip everybody. They want to own you. See? It says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance and the uttermost parts of the earth. See? And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Yeah, we just read that in Revelation, the 2nd chapter. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. See that? So guess what? That's the kingdom of heaven. And the so-called white man understand this idea all too well. That's why you see them right now swarming, you know, and doing whatever in their power to try to halt this momentum of the kingdom of heaven being established. But guess what? There's nothing you could do to offset the prophecies. Okay, and the Lord is actually hastening this prophecy. Okay, we're in that time. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Lord willing, it was edifying. Till the next time I say shalom.